And welcome to the Music Rating, Ranking, and Reviewing podcast where we rate, rank, and review an artist's discography, song, sort of whatever musical topic that comes to mind that we want to discuss. We do. As you can tell, this is a solo video, and we're going to have a couple more of these this year, but we're gonna kick this one off talking about a more modern pop artist, one that is very critically revered by many people, despite her most recent record not necessarily getting the warmest of appraisal. We're going to be talking about Lorde from her 3 studio records, incredibly popular from her mega successful breakthrough hit Royals, her less popular but incredibly critically revered record Melodrama, and the universally panned Solar Power. I find her to be a very interesting artist, definitely one of the better of this new modern breed of pop artists, similar in a vein to like Lana Del Rey in some ways. I would say that she's maybe less so of a pop megastar and sort of more like a B tier artist, but that's typically where you get more of the talent, like a Lorde, a Lana, Carly Rae Jepsen, for examples. And yeah, Lorde is an artist that necessarily I don't love. I think that she is incredibly interesting and she has plenty of unique characteristics to her. But more often than not, I don't love the material that she puts out. It's only 3 records though, so I figured I'd give her discography a shot and sort of just state my overall opinions on it. That being said, let's kick things off, and I'm going to be doing something very silly at the start because my number 3 record is going to be Melodrama. Now, I understand that this record is incredibly beloved by many people. So many consider it to be one of the best of last decade. And to be brutally honest, I just simply don't see it. I do think that it's a good album, but as you can tell, it's my least favorite. And like I've been saying, I never quite got the hype for it. It's often praised as being one of the best of the 2010s. And like I keep saying, I just simply don't see it. I think that it starts out pretty strong with Greenlight, and I think that the Louvre is excellent. There's also Sober, which I think is incredibly strong. I don't much like Homemade Dynamite, though. This is an issue on all of her records. I think that the song and the third track just simply are never good. I don't know. Maybe she can fix this on her 4th record, but for whatever reason, just that third track slot, she can never nail down for me. But notably, the vocals on the pre chorus of that song just really irritate me. And songs like Liability and Writer in the Dark just simply don't land the mark. They don't come across as being very authentic to me. They kind of feel like this boying. I'm not even sure how to describe it. They just come across like she's trying to be this big like role model or something and pour her heart out, but it just simply doesn't play well to me. And that kind of plays into one of my bigger issues on the record, in which I feel like she's trying to play this like bigger character, this almost pop diva role model sort of person. And I just simply don't think that that's who Lorde is as an artist. I prefer her far more in her more sparse, her more quiet moments. And that's why I much prefer Pure Heroine and Solar Power. Well, on this record, I think that it has moments of excellence despite this role that she's playing. I just simply don't think that this is the type of music that Lorde as an artist is supposed to be making, at least to me. Despite that, Supercut is amazing. I love the first half of Hard Feelings, but Loveless is just all right. And Perfect Places is one of her best songs, probably her best closer. While, like I'm saying, this isn't necessarily the direction that I wanted her to go overall, I still do think that it's a good album. I have the 3.5 stars. I just simply don't understand how it became this big titan of last decade. Moving up from there, I have at number 2, Solar Power. Very similar to how I felt Melodrama is kind of overrated. I think that Solar Power is very overhated and in many ways very underrated. This is produced by Jack Antonoff and has a very similar feel to the records that he made with Lana Del Rey at around the same time. The only difference is that I think that Lorde is just simply way more talented. Lana is an artist that I've also struggled with, where I really, really love Born to Die. It's just enough for other records that I've listened to, I've come close to scratching that itch of how much I really like that record. Well, but anyways, back to Solar Power. While none of her best material is necessarily found on this, I feel like pretty consistently throughout. It's just incredibly solid songs, and I just love the overall atmosphere and production across this record. I think that it just sounds exactly how I would want a modern pop record to. It's really low key, it's really mellow, but it has this excellent sort of groove throughout it, and I just find it really, really excellent. The Path is a great opener, and I also really enjoy the title track. I love Stone at the Nail Salon, and Secrets from a Girl Who Knows It All is another strong track. Where if you like this record, I feel like that's going to be one of your absolute favorites. If you don't, that's probably going to be the make or break track for you. Mood Ring is probably my favorite across here. I think it's the best blending of the sound that she's going for here and a bit more of her personality that she was showing on Melodrama. There are a couple of weaker cuts, like I mentioned in the third hole. I believe that's California. Doesn't really do it for me. And there's a couple of tracks near the middle that are just sort of all right. I also don't think that it closes as strongly as her other two records, but for me, I still think that it's a very good album. I don't necessarily get the hate for it. I have it at a 7.5 or a 3.5 stars. I think it's a good record, but I don't get why so many people acted like this was such an enormous drop off from Melodrama. At number one, though, as you can kind of assume, because I've talked about the other two, I have her debut record, Pure Heroine. And I think that she comes out of the gate with a very strong pop album. I think Tennis Court is a great way to open the record. Very low key, but it has everything that you would expect in Lorde. 400 Lux is great following it. And sort of the big deal breaker on this record for me, I could get it to 4.5, but it just doesn't get there because of it. I simply just can't stand the song Royals. I've never liked it at all, and it just continues to grate on me more and more. The way that she sings the chorus just really annoys me, and I feel like that's the worst part of her in this more low key sound. I just simply don't think that it resonates very well on that at all. Ribs, however, is exceptional, and same with Buzzcut Season. And I think that, especially across this record, Lorde is one of the stronger pop writers. And across this record, her songwriting chops are just fully evident. Glory and Gone is great. I really love White Teeth Teens. And The World Alone is really just an exceptional closer. I don't think that it's great. I feel like Lorde, through this record, was able to quickly carve a hole in some ways that changed pop because you notice after Royals stuff, maybe not immediately after, but things in like 2015, 2016 started to get a lot more mellow, started to get a bit darker, a bit gloomier. For example, you had groups like Migos and 21 Pilots coming around that were sort of using these darker tones and different styles that were getting incredibly popular. And I feel like some of what Lorde was doing and some of what some other artists maybe helped to inspire that change in tempo of modern pop. Like I said, it's not quite a great album. I do have it at 4 stars. I think that it's very good. The only issue is that I just simply don't think that it's great. And it has that one song that just is never going to do it for me. That being said, though, those are my opinions on the 3 albums by Lorde. I think that she is a very good artist, and I think that she has plenty of really interesting material. It just simply comes down to I feel like she hasn't been able to put together a full record that I think showcases all of her talents in the ways that she's kind of hoping to. And I'm really hoping that on a potential fourth record, who knows how long that'll take to come out, she's going to be able to sort of reel everything in and really create the record that I think that she's capable of. With that being said, I really hope that you enjoyed this. Coming up after this, we are going to be discussing the catalog with Patrick and Harvey of the new wave, almost power pop, in some ways post-punk band XTC. Going to be talking about their 12 records, so we aren't necessarily going to be including the Dukes of the Stratosphere, although we may talk about that record. With that being said, I really hope that you enjoyed, and I hope that you look forward to XTC, hopefully coming up soon after.